"24 Investigates" goes in depth to uncover the cruel destruction of the country's rivers and landscape at the hands of alluvial gold partners operating syndicates across the country.
In journalism, they say no story is worth dying for. But this is a story that the water is now reddish as a result of upstream activities that are now affecting this downstream part of that river.
We show how these peasant miners have diverted waterways, destroyed landscape, and affected the country's panorama, revealing the extent of these illegal mining activities, and go deeper into the activities to reveal a strong determination by these illegal miners to get that small trace of gold, no matter the cost on the environments. My name is Theophilus Chuma. I am an investigative reporter from Harare, Zimbabwe. For over 5 years, I've worked on environmental crimes occurring in my country, witnessing massive pillage on fields, gazetted forests, and rivers. In 2019, I passed through Mazowe River, a water source located just some 30 kilometers outside the capital city, Harare. My attention was caught by a dried up section of this river, which at first I assumed was largely a result of the dry season. But a sixth sense told me something was wrong. Since then, I've tracked the situation on Mazowe River, uncovering a syndicate of illegal gold miners and some foreign corporates responsible for the ghostly panorama of mud-choked rivers and yawning landscape. I have come face to face with cruel environmental plunder during my investigation, but the situation at Mazowe and Mutare rivers affected me more than anything else. This is Mutare River, once a clear water source, but now a deep pool of reddish and mercury-tainted water. It's not the first time these fears have been raised. The same fears are abound as alluvial gold mining activities along riverbeds escalate.
There is much environmental damage along the Mutare River, starting from the stretch that begins from Shiba Estate down all the way to where the bridge crosses to the Mutare Harare Highway. Currently what we have noted is we have got an area that is affected by illegal mining, which area extends to about 21 hectares in extent. And in this area we have a large scouring of the river banks. We have water pollution that is also being caused by mud flow that's flowing into the river. We have high activity that is out on the riverbed, as well as the riverbanks along there. We also have got issues to do with the deforestation that is happening in the trees that are standing on the riverbanks and the riverbeds as well. And of late, of much concern is we have also had possibilities of mercury pollutions along the river, especially from the Sheba Estate up to Lake Alexander Dam. And there are numbers and numbers of illegal partners that are crowding in within these areas that are there.
From a distance, I watched the illegal partners working on what remains of the earth sitting less than a kilometer from the main road linking Mutare to Penalonga. I want to find out how they can be so bold to divert a whole water source to suit their need. But any approach by a stranger is treated with suspicion. By the time we get there, every one of them has disappeared. The next day, I track one of the illegal partners, convincing him to talk to me and tell me exactly how many illegal partners are working in this area and whether they are aware of the environmental chaos they are causing. From this point, I trekked Mutare River for more than 30 kilometers up to Sheba Estate along Penalonga Road. Our sources tell us that the area has become notorious for hundreds of illegal gold miners who sieve gold on the riverbed. Much as we tried to locate them in these thick woods, we hit a dead end. But the evidence of their activities is clearing. Water that has been severely polluted.
It's unfortunate that the illegal mining activities countrywide have left an eyesore in terms of river degradation, siltation. They've caused quite a lot of damage to the rivers. The rivers that have been affected, we have Mutare River in Mutare, and the Penalonga area. That's where there's high activity in the river Mutare and River, where a number of plus or minus 5,000 people have actually grouped in that particular area. And it's stretching about 50 kilometers with those illegal people in those areas. So basically that would mean the river at that particular time, the natural river has been damaged. We look at also Masoe River, our areas stretching through, right through to Mashina Central, Bidura areas, where you have seen that as long as it is not raining, there is plenty of artisanal mining. We are not calling them artisanal mining, but the illegal miners in those rivers. Another river that has been severely damaged is Mzimane River in the Matadele North region, and also in Chino.
This is one area within Manicaland province hosting hundreds of illegal gold miners. Each minute, a panner is using mercury or cyanide to separate gold from the ore. The resulting toxins are flushed into Mutare River and its tributaries.
If left unabated, then we surely do have a great problems at hand, because the term of mercury pollution is, we are looking at an example of the Minamata disease that happened in Japan, where if it is consumed in its compound forms, then we've got diseases such as cancer and nausea, and mental challenges among people and the like. And therefore, we as an agency have also engaged the other stakeholders so that we then can bring this challenge to a stop. We have engaged the Joint Operation Command. They're also helping us with evicting people within these areas so that we then can have sanity in the place. We are also working together with ZINWA, which are the owners of the water bodies. We are also working together with City of Mutare, which is also getting its water from that same river. We are also working with Border Timbers, which is the land authority in that area, as well as Mutasa RRTC, so that we can immediately rehabilitate that area before we do have any damage that can be of serious consequences to the public and to the people that are affected.
If fears of mercury contamination are confirmed, the nation should be prepared to deal with the effects, such as those experienced during the Minamata disaster in Japan.
As government, we realized that in about 3 or 4 episodes where we have allowed alluvial mining to take place, we did not have a program to rehabilitate those mine areas. In most cases, it will be suspension of the program or stoppage without a proper rehabilitation plan. So this was obviously of huge concern to us because it is affecting communities, it is affecting the flow of water in the rivers, it is affecting our dams, our livestock, and all other things that depend on the river.
It's very bad nenyaya mercury because munhu wese anogara munzvimbo idzodzi either anoiwana either kumvura anotoiwana because mercury inoita evaporate yakawana high volume yemoto, like panopiswa mercury, panopiswa gold baba, mercury evaporate, but inozonowana kwainoita land, which means it's either chaenda mvura yacho ndiyo yatononwa every day. Saka mercury is not very good and iri kutikuvadza every day, but chinhu chinenge chinoita inonzi kafira mberi kaka kwekuti inenge ichikuvadza slowly but surely. Saka dai mercury yabva musystem, the better for us.
September 2020, hundreds of illegal gold miners besieged Mazowe River armed with picks and shovels. This was to become the nemesis moment for the river as it suffered intense damage each second. On this investigation, I work with one of our journalists, Tapiwa Machemeze, to track the environmental chaos that came with the gold rush on the river. He says the damage is frightening and the resulting human cost unimaginable.
There's a lot of damage which is ongoing along the Mazowe River bank and right in the river because artisanal miners are doing quite a substantial amount of activity which is causing damage to this river. They are actually carrying out artisanal mining activities as they search for gold. You find extract gold, and this is causing damage to the river. People used it as a water source for drinking, and also you find that animals such as fish and other living organisms have actually died and or have disappeared from this river. So one really wonders what the future holds for the Mazowe River. It stretches for 4 districts ranging from Mazowe, Shamba, Bindura and Rushinga, but the common factor is that there is damage along this course. So there is really need for some action to ensure sustainability of the river course.
Mazowe Dam, once a thriving water body, but now reduced its worth by shadowy gold mining operations. Here, the scramble for the minerals not only attracted the peasant miners, but foreign players as well. Combined, they have been a formidable force to plunder the watercourse, reducing its capacity and raising alarm that the water is now contaminated. No one knows the exact number of illegal miners operating along rivers across the country, but their activities have been well pronounced to give authorities many sleepless nights.
When we are talking about formalization, we are not simply saying that people should go to the Ministry of Mines and get licenses and so forth, but we are trying to say have a simplified version of the registration which encompasses, which is not inhibitive, where people can actually register a mine with the simplest methods ever seen, costs also involved which are not high, which are not inhibitive. If you look, for example, in Kenya, when you got a prospecting license, you are eligible to start mining activities without looking for a pega, a prospector, and start those, and they are recorded, registered within the system. At one time in this statutory instrument of 1975 allowed even the Royal District Councils to give permission to identify areas that could be mined by the illegal miners, and then they will be registered with the Royal District Councils, who in turn would now check those people for identification of a proper certification with the Ministry of Mines. So we should be having those situations where, if you notice, in terms of recordings, on the actual people that are registered in terms of the Mines and Minerals Act is plus or minus 40,000 people, and then the illegal miners is 1.5 million people. So that, in terms of statistics, would show that the illegal miners constitutes 84%, and then 16% registered. So this means, therefore, that the government is losing a lot of revenues to the illicit trade. So that means when people are not in the formal system, they are mining unsustainably, and the chances of them degrading the land is very high because they don't have chance, they don't have time to mitigate against any environmental degradation that they cause, as they will be running against the law, as they will be, they've got more time, they don't have time to mitigate against the cost that they've done.
The issue of mining along that river has been an issue that has been persistent over a long time. But when it began, it was a controlled issue. It began when we had DTZ or ZGO. They also were not able to do what we were expecting them to do, and they just worked a little moment and then they left. And then it is just this year, currently this year, I think in the past month, this is when then we have discovered the challenge of mercury pollution. In the past, we did not have such an issue because we normally take water samples along those rivers to check the state of the water quality that is in there. It has always been satisfactory, with often occasional disturbances of its viscosity and the mud flows. But it is only within the last month that then Mutasa Rural District Council, when they did their sample, then they discovered that there was an excess amount of mercury that was flowing in the river. And as a follow-up, we also went then to investigate, to find out this alarm that had been raised. We discovered then that in terms of the water itself, there was no mercury in per se, but the mercury that we found was in within the mud flow that was in within the river system itself.
kuhosa vanoshandisawo munhu zvakasiyana-siyana zvikuru each and every day 24 hours mvura yangu kusvika saka it's great for our community, it's good for the ndiri kuona kuti vakapirwa kuti mwedzi unosvika kuti pachanaya mvura ndofunga zvekuma 50 to 100 meters vanonge vakava vaparadza iroro saka dai zvagonika vagona kuti vangewaniswa.
What saddens me is that people came here, mined, made their money, and left communities exposed, left communities' livelihoods at far higher risk. And as you can see right behind us here, the livestock is coming back, enjoying what is close to what they are used to. And we hope that as the work continues, as we rehabilitate, revegetate, this area will be opened up for livestock, but also with possibilities of the community coming up with other livelihood projects. I'm also grateful to government because when we proposed this approach, it was a first of its kind. A huge risk, if I may say, given what we had seen happening to our rivers. But it is slowly paying off. I know it's coming at a huge cost. We will be making recommendations for other areas that need rehabilitation.
The environmental cost resulting from the panning activities far outweigh the small benefits for the panners. Unless and until these activities are stopped, the country can watch its rivers being choked